Hana smiled every day. To Yuki, she seemed light, happy, invincible, but he had no idea what hid behind that smile. And by the time he found out, it was already too late. This is the heartfelt story of how Yuki met Hana and lived every second by the side of the great love of his life, even when time itself turned against them. Winter came early that year. The mornings were pale, wrapped in thick mist. Frost blanketed the ground like a crystal veil, and every step crunched beneath their boots. To Yuki, the cold wasn't just a temperature, it was a presence. He was a musician, but he had stopped playing. His violin, once an extension of his soul, now lay beneath a gray cloth, as if it too were in mourning. A year earlier, Yuki's world collapsed. He lost both parents in a house fire, and there was nothing he could do to save them. Since then, he had sunk into a silent grief, day after day, abandoning music, his greatest passion. He lived on autopilot, like someone rehearsing a goodbye without ever saying it. He spent his days working at his late parents' flower shop. During that time of year, there was little contact with people. Interest in flowers faded with the cold. Few customers came in. Winter was unkind to flowers, and to those who sold them. Business was slow, silence constant. Then, one gray morning, in the dead of winter, she appeared. Hana walked in without a hat, without gloves, but with a smile that seemed to defy the cold itself. There was something luminous about her, as if the season dared not touch her. She greeted Yuki, and said she was looking for flowers that could still survive in winter. Yuki, who worked there partly out of obligation, partly out of inertia, pointed to the last of the white camellias. In a quiet voice, he told her camellias bloom even in the cold. She laughed and said that made her just like the camellias. From that day on, Hana returned, always with a new request, a new comment, a new color. She brought with her the scent of wet earth and the lightness of someone who knew their time was limited, but chose to smile anyway. Each day, Hana came back just to talk to Yuki. Slowly, they grew closer. Her sweet, cheerful nature captivated him in a way he had never experienced. Though they hadn't known each other long, for Yuki, it was enough. He was completely in love, and she was too. But Hana hesitated to take the next step in their relationship. She always carried an air of mystery, often dodging questions about herself, and preferring to hear Yuki's life stories instead. After a few weeks, Yuki began to notice changes in her. She coughed more. Her hands looked fragile, her gaze deeper, until one day, she could no longer hide the truth. She told him she was fighting a rare cancer. Her diagnosis was terminal. No promises beyond the coming months. She had moved to that town to spend her final days with some relatives to pass peacefully. That afternoon, sitting between pots and fallen leaves, Hana told Yuki that sometimes living hurts more than dying. Yuki nodded, as if she had read his soul. In that moment, all his past grief returned. He relived the helplessness of losing those he loved most, and now he was about to lose someone again. But even with his heart in pieces, Yuki pulled himself together. He didn't want Hana to see his pain. She didn't deserve that. All he wanted was to make her last days the happiest of her life. They came up with a calendar of promises. Small joys, one for each day they still had together. Nothing grand. See the ocean. Eat fresh strawberries. Watch the snow fall from the window. Laugh until it hurt. They promised to do them all. They promised to be there for each other. Yuki decided to start playing again for her. At first, His hands trembled, but his fingers remembered. The music returned. Hana listened as if every note was medicine. She told him he healed without knowing it. And so, the days passed. They lived each one as if it were their last. In spring, they visited the fields to see wildflowers. In summer, they slept under the stars. In autumn, they jumped into piles of dry leaves like children. And in winter returned. But it was different. Hana began to falter. She missed the meetings, grew tired easily. Her hands shook, but she kept smiling. "We still have days left on the calendar," she would say. On Christmas Eve, Yuki prepared a surprise, a private concert just for her. In the flower shop's garden, beneath golden lights and soft snow, he played the melody he had written with her name. She cried. "I didn't know I could feel so alive, even so close to the end." On the final page of the calendar, a handwritten note remained. "If I go first, keep playing for me, and plant camellias." The next morning, Yuki received a call. It was Hana's mother. Her daughter had passed away in the early hours. Yuki said goodbye. The pain was indescribable. Once again, he found himself alone with his flower shop, his violin, and a few camellias. Hana passed in January, with a blooming garden around her bed and soft music echoing in the air. Months have gone by, but Yuki still remains. He plays every morning for the flowers, just as he promised. He teaches music to children. Every winter, he plants camellias for her. And to remind everyone that beauty doesn't have to last to be real. Winter still comes, year after year. But now, inside him, there is a warmth that never leaves. This was just one of the many stories we have to tell. Like, subscribe, and join us for the next one.